we've got one of our short questions, which is complex numbers, and comes up every year on paper 1 for our Leaving Cert Ordinary Level students, and our algebra rules apply. That's one of the most important things. When you see I squared, you're going to substitute in a -1. So this is a nice handy one. I've put it on the videos maybe if you wanted to start with a nice basic and build up on it. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 by 2i is 8i. I times 5 is 5i. And I times -i is -i squared. Now we're going to tidy those up, remembering that this I squared is actually going to become a -1. So some students who might be strong enough will kind of do a -1 over that and then know that a minus times a minus would give you a plus. So we've got a 12 plus 1, which is 13, and 8 and 5, which is 13i. And that's that guy done. If z equals 3 plus 3i, what's z with a little line or a hat on the top? Well, that little line or hat, he means the conjugate. Now, I know the conjugate is sort of a funny word, okay? So I like to think of C for change the sign. And you're changing the sign of the imaginary. So if z is 3 plus 3i, z the conjugate is 3 minus 3i. So the guy with the little hat means the conjugate, and you change the sign of the imaginary. Now, the next one is division, and it comes up really regularly. There's only one thing you can do, and that is to learn it off by heart. I've liked to learn it from steps. The steps that I would teach students is step 1, get the conjugate of the bottom. And this one in particular is a bit unusual because you've got z the conjugate in there, but I'll show you what to do. So get the conjugate of the bottom. Step 2, split your page in 2 and times everything out twice. So that's a really nice visual that students tend to like in order to get going. And it's top by the conjugate of the bottom. I'll show you what all this is now in a minute. And then bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. And then step 3 is to pop those back over each other. Right, so what does all this mean? Well, let's fill in z. We know that z is 3 plus 3i over z the conjugate, which we just found. We found that he was 3 minus 3i. That's your first step. You just fill in whatever they ask you. Now, they've said here, get the conjugate of the bottom. So we're going to go here and change the 3 minus 3i to 3 plus 3i, which is a bit of an unusual one, but anyway. Now you're going to do the top by him, then the bottom by him. So the top, which is 3 plus 3i, by what we just got, that bottom. Then the bottom, 3 plus 3i, by the conjugate at the bottom, 3 minus 3i. And we split and repeat these guys. That's 3 times 3 plus 3i, and 3i times 3 plus 3i. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3i is 9i. 3i times 3 is 9i. 3i times 3i is 9i squared. What do you do when you see an I squared? Fill in -1. 9 times -1 is -9. So he's going to become a -9. You can rewrite the whole sum if you wish. It just depends on how strong of a student you are. 9 take 9 is 0. And then 9i plus 9i is 18i. Right, over to the other side, and we're going to split and repeat. That's 3 times 3 minus 3i, and 3i times 3 minus 3i. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 by minus 3i is minus 9i. 3i times 3 is plus 9i. 3i times minus 3i is minus 9i squared. On this side, they'll always delete those i's. And remembering that I squared is really a -1, and -9 times -1 is +9. So 9 and 9 is 18. And you can, of course, rewrite the whole sentence if you need to. Now, the top piece is 0 plus 18i. And you're going to divide by 18, divide by 18, giving me 0 plus 18 divided by 18 is 1i. And that is that guy all done. Right, they'd like you to plot these. So Z, I'm just going to write them out here. Z was 3 plus 3i. Z, the conjugate, was 3 minus 3i. And Z divided by Z, the conjugate, was 0 plus I, or 1i. So that's in the door and up or down the stairs. So in the door to 3 and up to 3i, and he'll be Z. Here the conjugate, the mirrored image, is 3 minus 3i, and Z, then Z divided by Z, the conjugate, is 0 plus 1i. So into 0 and up to 1i, and that is the 3 done. So the last little piece, and you must know that this symbol here means the modulus. The modulus is the distance that Z would be from 0, 0, the origin. And there's a special formula for that. It's a squared plus b squared. You won't find the formula in the log tables. You have to learn it. You're all well able to get that. It's just a squared plus b squared. So we're going to take that 3 plus 3i, label them A and B, instead of A, you're going to fill in 3, and instead of B, you're going to fill in 3. You don't need to put the I in. That will be the root of 18. Your calculator will handle that for you. When you pop him into your calculator, you get 3 root 2. And that's that done, guys. So that was kind of a middle of the road difficulty wise. Not too terrible. It's definitely a manageable question on paper 1 on the Leaving Cert. And we tend to mark it pretty okay, you know, so really give it a good go on the day.